So Jeremy, powerlifting is your sport and meets are your events. So I wanted to ask you, what do you think are the biggest mistakes that people make in preparation and during meets?
The biggest one I see is, and it probably comes from lack of practice, is testing their lifts a lot. So you'll see someone go, basically the last like 3 weeks of a meet, they mess everything up. It's like all their good work they did, they mess it up by lifting too heavy because they have no confidence. They'll take their max and they'll lift it because they want to lift it on the platform, and there's a good chance that you don't get to do that again. You know, they'll take their new max and like 2 weeks out, they'll test it and see. If you think that day is going to be so good that you can lift that weight, you know, this new max, then move your meet over or move your schedule over so you're having that day at the meet. Stop doing your meet before your meet and just screwing everything up. And I see people make that mistake countless times. I've seen people lift their opener deadlift in the warm-up room many times, like 5-6 times, because they have no confidence on doing it on the platform. It's like, what are you doing? So I think that messes everything up a lot. They start way too heavy, and they end way too heavy before their meet, and then they say, oh, I hit this in the gym, I don't know why I couldn't hit it in the competition. Well, because you did it in the gym. Yeah. They also, a big mistake people make is they ask for too much in a training cycle. So they'll start with numbers and they'll go, okay, I want to add this much weight to my end lift and be there at the meet. And they're asking for like 10% or more sometimes. I found that if you ask for too much, you usually don't get that. And a lot of times you can go backwards. And if you ask for a little in the end, you usually get that and more. So that was a big thing for me. Starting light, asking for a little bit in the end, and usually getting that and more. There's a lot of mistakes I see people make. The whole like listen to your body thing. Listening to your body can be a mistake too. I think we touched on it earlier, but if you're someone if you're like newer, you know, beginner, intermediate, and you're trying to listen to your body's, I don't know what your body's telling you, but my body's, you know, telling me to like sit back, sip a coffee, sip a beer, relax, not push so hard. I think you have to will your body. You have to will, you know, what do you want to lift? How bad do you want to lift it? What is the number that you're mentally okay with? And stop listening to your body. Your mind's constantly trying to talk you out of doing things. You know, this is too heavy, or, oh, how's this going to feel? Are you going to hurt yourself? Can you lift this much? Should you be lifting this much? And you got to silence that voice. Don't let anyone talk to you about it. You know, don't let anyone bring up injuries to you. You can't think about the negativity. You can't think about not being able to do it. It's just, what are you okay with mentally? What makes sense to you? You know, if I told you that you're going to squat 1,000 pounds in 5 years from now, you probably say, in the back of your head, you know that's probably not going to happen, no matter what. But maybe I say to you, in a couple of years from now, you can squat, let's say 500 pounds. You might go, that kind of seems right. I'm not sure, it's going to be hard, but I can kind of conceive that to be a possibility. And then, and you'll just will yourself there. You'll work yourself there. You have to be okay with that end number.
Yeah, so it's kind of like this balance of having a great goal, but within reason.
Yeah, or even just a touch out of reason, but so close within reason that you still think it's a possibility.
Yeah.
So, you know, how insane are you in a way? You know, what can you think of? That's kind of the first step, I think.
Yeah.
In getting somewhere really far. Yeah. You have to be brutally honest with yourself with anything you want to get good at. Otherwise, you're not getting the proper feedback. So you have to know where you failed, to know where you could do better, and that's it. Otherwise you don't improve. You just keep repeating the same thing. So you have to be very brutally honest with yourself.
It's funny because powerlifting is an event you show up and you do get attempts, but you don't get many.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's definitely how music is. You get some tries, but you don't get many.
People look at that as easy. Oh, it's only, you get 3 lifts in a squat, bench, deadlift, so 9 overall. They think that having like, single attempts, that makes things easier compared to like someone that does something over a longer period of time. But to me, it's like the margin of error is just razor thin. You don't get it back. Yeah. If anything's off by even a little bit, it's the difference between like huge success or complete failure where you can wreck yourself in front of people.
It's almost like Olympic weightlifting. You get attempts, but it's not like you're there all day trying. It's like
you can't mess up at all. You need to put all the work in beforehand to make sure it comes out perfect. That's why like perfect practice makes perfect is better than practice makes perfect. And then if form breaks down on music or repetitions, you're just practicing an improper movement pattern. Yeah, and you're just teaching yourself how to do it wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're better off going full power, perfect, as many times as possible. Yeah.
How important has it been for you to have like that system of people that are just like, this is Jeremy and this is what he's doing. He's gonna be great at it. Let him do his thing.
I think the system came from me doing what I was going to do anyway. So I definitely had help. Like my wife saw that I was driven to do something, so she just got behind me because that's the way she is, but also because I'm not going to stop anyway. And then I definitely had help with family and like a job. Like I found a way to get a really good job where I could make training a priority, like a focus. So I worked 9 to 5 in like a lawyer's office. Yeah. This was years ago, but I did that for about 5 years, and it was super helpful. Just like having low stress and just doing like random tasks to help out really helped my training. I couldn't have done it without some sort of job like that. Yeah. I worked with family. My cousin worked there, and she helped me out a ton. Like I'd be able to take like a nap and have a snack. She would wake me up for my snack and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's super unusual, I know, but that's kind of the avenue. I wasn't gonna settle for a job that wouldn't let me do what I wanted to do. Yeah. Getting a job that allows you to do practice, not having people in your life that take away from you or are not on board with what you're trying to achieve. It's just, I don't know why you do that anyway. Why you'd settle for anything like that. Just I don't like to settle for things. I've had like support from my parents in a way that they always told me I was strong and they think it's cool, but they would probably consider it at the same level as like someone competing in a local meet and doing well or something, and that's cool. So I had to quit a lot of jobs because they wouldn't allow me to do what I wanted to do. And I think a lot of people have a hard time doing that, like quitting something. But I have no problem quitting. I like quitting. If you're not doing something that you want to do, and you have another outlet to do, or do something else, or you want to get into something else, just quit. I wouldn't waste my time doing anything for anybody if it doesn't serve you or your family. Just quit. So I've quit a lot of jobs to do what I wanted to do. And maybe I could do it because I had an awesome support structure with my wife and my family when I was younger, but I also would have done it anyway.
You talk about your parents, and I was wondering, are you just thankful that they supported you? Because I know sometimes in music you'll have like even friends of mine where their parents are just not very supportive of what they do, and then you see the opposite extreme where their parents are musicians and they kind of have helped them out through their entire career. I was wondering, was that ever a struggle for you to be like, I'm doing something and my parents, I don't know if your parents powerlift.
My mom. Well, both my parents arm wrestled for a little bit.
Oh, okay.
My mom was like Ontario champion, but they didn't really train a day in their life. My mom smoked cigarettes and would arm wrestle, and she did really well with it. And would train with like my dad and a few of his friends sometimes. Like we had a table at home, so I grew up like seeing that. And I was also always very like rewarded for doing strength things. I do push-ups for money, so it was always like a positive experience. Or my dad would come help me lift. But outside of that, there was never like an encouragement to, you have to, do this, or push further and compete at a high level. There was never anything like that. It was always get a job and buy a house in town, which was not what I wanted to do at all. I'd just rather just die. So yeah, I had support, and maybe I'm not someone that can be pushed. I don't like being pushed. It was all like internal drive. If I felt like I was being pushed to do something, then I would right away back off. I didn't like it. I didn't need it. The support helps, but it wouldn't have mattered, I don't think. You know, if someone told you you can't play music, or you can't do it in our house, or you're just going to find a way to do it, right? Yeah, no one's going to stop you from doing it. Yeah, you'll just figure it out. Yeah. If you want to practice 10 hours a day, then you'll find a way to do that.
So you talked about being a gym owner, and I know that when I first came here, you didn't really even advertise this as a powerlifting gym. This is a strength and conditioning facility. So then, I guess like as a gym owner, how important was it for you to create an open atmosphere?
Super important. I try to tell people that right away, like, because we have really cool tools that powerlifters use, we get some powerlifters, but people come in here and they look around, they think that everyone in here is like a competitive powerlifter, and that's just not even close. It's like maybe like 2.5% of the members here. But everyone does like they squat, because that's the best way to get results. You know, the quickest way, simplest way, heavy compound, multi-joint movements. So a lot of people squat. We have a lot of racks because people need to squat. And variations of it. You know, we have deadlift platforms because people need to do deadlifts and variations of it. So that's going to build you the most strength. We have weightlifting platforms too. So, you know, not everyone's a competitive weightlifter in here, but people like to do the power cleans and the power movements. And we try to just really introduce all these like lifts to the general public, because I think people are starting to figure out that this is what they need to do, but they get a little bit worried about how it's not for them. It's only for competitive athletes. But in reality, you know, everyone should be doing these type of movements because that's what gets you the best results the quickest. So we really try to push that, and we keep it open. I don't let anyone in here that's not gonna, you know, be respectful or nice. You know, we're not like interviewing people and saying, okay, you'll be a fit. There's a constant going on if someone's like not really fitting in or doing well, or just kind of like, you know, being disrespectful, then it doesn't work for them. So just making sure everyone's really cool in here, I think really helps.
Yeah, because I think when you talk about making sure that people can come in here and feel comfortable in doing things, it reminds me sometimes, I know in music, and in particular classical music, there's like a fear of the gym, like this is going to hurt me. And it's funny because through the people that I train a lot of people that, you know, they're just office workers. And I always tell them, you know, a strength program is something that's going to be great for you, even just for postural integrity. And because I sometimes think people hyperbolize the gym. Like, so you want me to weightlift, so you want me to come in and do 300-pound squat, and that's not the case.
No, not at all. They think it's a place where you have to be strong to come to, but it's the opposite. It's a place where you come to build yourself, to get strong. And if you're someone who's like more of like an intellectual, you know, your body's got to carry your brain through space. If you want to see things and do things, then having a strong body is like super important. We literally have people in here that have never lifted a weight before in their life, and we just start them with a broomstick, and then eventually progress to a bar, and then start adding weight when you can. I think if you're in here, you get respect for that right off the bat, no matter what you're lifting, as long as you're in here doing it. Anyone who's like in a gym where, you know, people are like making fun of them for trying, we don't have that here. That's ridiculous. There's too many gyms where they are just not in line with your goals, and they're not really there to help you. They're just there to, you know, take your money. And that's about it.
It's funny because it makes me think, like, sometimes people think I'm going to impress people by playing this super complicated piece of music, and sometimes people forget that you just have to play what you can play.
It's for you. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. You play the best piece of music that anyone's ever played. That's subjective. And people will go, wow, that's really good, and then they go about their day. They don't care. You lift the most weight ever lifted, and some people talk about it on the internet for a day, and then that's it. Everyone goes back to their lives. Nobody cares. You know, do it for you if you like doing it. Come in here and exercise. No one cares. You know, if someone sees you struggling, most people are gonna try to give you a hand, but for the most part, nobody cares what you're doing.
There's like a connection between like form and musicality, where it's like what really matters is the form and the quality of which you're doing things. And it's almost in like a musical performance. If you played 1,000 notes and you played them wrong, people would rather just hear one note played really well. So it's kind of like, I'd rather see you squat 135 really nice than 205 and
Yeah.
it looks like you're in
Yes.
Snap City.
Yeah, it's not about where you start. It's about just progressing and being better. Yeah, getting yourself stronger, getting outside your comfort zone, learning. That's it.
Yeah.
Just like anything. Yeah. Yeah, it's not a place to display your strength. Some people like to do that, but it's a place to build yourself.
That's it. I just want to say thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for watching, guys. If you missed part 1, here it is. All the best.